Testing, 1, 2, 3. Stack the millions, 1 out of 3. Big man is local. I need my youth to be vocal. What you need?
Welcome to the Democracy Box podcast. The Democracy Box has been created by Yvonne Murphy for Oh My Days Productions, and this podcast series comes from 2 original ideas by 3 Democracy Box young co-creators, Lauren, Alex and Sean.
The Democracy Box is all about young people finding new creative ways to share the story of our UK democracy, so that people, old people and everyone in between can understand our UK democracy and take part both at and beyond the ballot box.
Oh My Days is the Electoral Commission's Youth Voice partner for Wales, and this episode is brought to you in partnership with the Electoral Commission. Series 3, Episode 1, Tea and Biscuits with the Electoral Commission.
Or everything you ever wanted to know about elections but were too afraid to ask.
Hi, my name's Lola Evans, I'm 18 and I'm from Penarth. I joined the Democracy Box in 2021 as a young co-creator, and since then I've done kind of random little things for social media, but at the moment I'm working on the TikTok.
Hi, I'm Liv, I'm 18, I'm from Dinas Powys, and I've also been with the Democracy Box since 2021, and I think the main thing I've done is I illustrated the Democracy Box storybook.
And we're actually here today with a guest. Amalia, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Amalia Aspro and I'm 18, and as Laura said, I am a guest and I don't actually know anything about politics or democracy, so I'm excited to get an understanding.
Yeah, I hope we can help you. I mean,
Yes.
yeah, I might have to do some Googling.
But we don't know everything.
I guess the important question is, do you both have a cup of tea with you?
I don't like tea. I know, it's not good. I've got apple juice.
And Amalia, what type of tea do you have?
I have just the normal English tea, but it's gone cold sadly, but I'll still drink it.
No.
Who wants to talk about biscuits?
I sadly don't have any biscuits. I was meant to bring some, but I forgot, but yeah.
I have biscuits that I found at the back of my cupboard. They're the only ones left in my house because we all inhale them. So I've got some weird jammy Dodger like hybrid biscuits, but I'd much prefer a chocolate biscuit.
Oh my god, chocolate biscuits are my absolute favourite. Like chocolate fingers, chocolate digestives. Oh yeah.
Chocolate digestives.
What about you, Amalia?
I actually have 3 bourbons with me.
Chocolate biscuits. I actually love custard creams as well.
Same.
They're okay.
Wow, Liv, you don't like tea or custard creams?
I know, I'm not very popular here, am I? I've got an interesting question now. I don't know how you're going to answer this, but if democracy was a biscuit, what biscuit would it be?
Do you know, I would say they're like a chocolate digestive, because it's always there in your cupboard. You know, everyone has chocolate digestives, don't they? It's a very general biscuit. But if you bite into it, you know, if you're taking in the knowledge, then it's interesting and amazing experience.
Well, based off my little knowledge on democracy, I would probably say that it's very important, and an important biscuit to me is a triple chocolate cookie.
I want to eat one of them.
Yeah.
Chocolate chips are the knowledge. And as you bite into democracy, you get more knowledge, more chocolate chips. I thought that was very clever. It definitely
That was actually really good. That was actually good.
I guess we should probably move the conversation away.
Yeah, we probably should.
When I say elections, what is springing to mind?
Voting.
Yeah, voting. Do we want to speak about the different types?
So that's quite a lot of information, isn't it?
Yeah, there's loads of them. Shall we try and break it down a little bit? I don't know.
Yes, definitely.
So shall we start with the local elections in Wales? There's local elections in Wales. There's also Senedd elections in Wales. And there's UK Parliament elections in Wales. So they have those 3, just in Wales. What are we voting for?
Local elections take care of local stuff, so like libraries or schools.
Local councillors to sort out the local things. Okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then members of Senedd, the Welsh Parliament. So members of Senedd for the Welsh Parliament. And they do stuff that the UK Parliament does, but for devolved things. So I guess they're
Right.
just debating and passing laws, but for Wales. And then there's the UK Parliament as well, the big one. And that does the same thing as the devolved powers, but for non-devolved issues like national defence.
It's devolved more like education and health.
Yeah.
Is
That's
that-
devolved.
Oh, okay.
So that's stuff specific to Wales or specific to the devolved.
Right.
So in Scotland and Northern Ireland, they can, the devolved powers and the
They
devolved
do a
parliaments in
different-
their areas are sorting with that. And then the UK Parliament deals with the non-devolved issues and they pass laws.
Okay.
That means because of the devolved powers, people in Wales and Scotland and Northern Ireland have more people to vote for than the people in England.
Yeah.
Everyone has a member of parliament and everyone has local councillors, no matter where you're from, in the UK, obviously. But people in Wales and Scotland and Northern Ireland also have their devolved powers. Do you want to explain, like, the devolved people that they vote for?
So in Wales, that is members of the Senedd or
Yeah.
MS.
Your MSs.
In Scotland, it's members of Scottish Parliament, so MSPs. And then in Northern Ireland, it's members of Legislative Assembly, so MLA.
So
Yeah.
MS, MSP, MLA.
And they're all devolved, yeah?
Yeah. And then
Okay,
you have
that
your
makes more
MPs
sense.
and your local councillors as well. So other than all the ones we just said, there's also police commissioner elections and in some places mayoral elections. So, like London has a mayor. I think Manchester has a
Okay.
mayor. So in places like that, they vote for their mayor as well. And then I think everybody, no matter where you're from, votes for a police commissioner, but that police commissioner is specific to your area. I find that so interesting because it's crazy that, I don't know, you can vote for that stuff. Like when I was I did not know that you could vote for, I don't know, things in your local community like the bins and the parks.
Oh no, me neither. Like I didn't know
Well, I
local
didn't
elections.
know that.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, just education and there's just so much and I just didn't know. Amelia, does that make sense to you?
Yes, it sounds quite confusing, but
Yeah.
I do get what you're saying. Like it is giving me a little understanding, you know.
Yeah, so you have local elections, devolved parliament elections and general elections.
Yes.
So Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, they're all devolved. Do you know what devolved means? A devolved power is a power that is taken, I always just think of it as like being taken away from the general power that's in England at Westminster. And it's basically giving the other countries of the UK the chance to make their own decisions on their like smaller area, I guess, smaller area, country, whatever. Devolved parliament elections, they're in Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, not in England.
Not England, no.
England, they only have local and general. But there is a whole Democracy Box podcast just on this, just on the devolved powers and all of that crazy stuff. Should we go back to the basics?
Yeah, I think we got to circle back.
So in elections, you elect your representatives, whatever representative they may be. And the only way you can vote is if you register to vote. Liv, how did you register to vote? Like what made you?
So being involved in the Democracy Box, really, because a lot of my friends weren't, and to be honest, I probably wouldn't have been if I wasn't involved with this. So what about you?
Mine's quite embarrassing, actually. My mum registered me to vote. I think I would have myself because I want my opinion to be heard. And I voted for the first time 2 years ago when I was 16. So 16 is the minimum voting age in Wales and Scotland for local elections and Welsh Parliament elections or devolved power elections in Scotland. But in England and I believe Northern Ireland, you register at 16 to vote at 18.
Oh wow, I actually know that.
I was just going to mention that the Electoral Commission has resources about voting ages, I believe. So going on our website's a really easy way to kind of check out which is what.
Yeah, and the crazy thing, I mean, and I've learned all of this from the Democracy Box work. I wouldn't know it without it. But on the Electoral Commission website and the Democracy Box website, it also says about how you can't vote. And obviously when I went to vote in the local and Welsh Parliament elections, I became all of a sudden aware that I can't vote in general elections until I was 18, and now I'm 18, so now I can finally. But I mean, it's just weird that there's all those different ages. So I guess if you ever get confused about that, you can definitely head over to those websites. I know we mentioned the Electoral Commission.
Yeah, I was just going to say that we've said the Electoral Commission, and we haven't actually said anything about what it is.
Have you ever heard of the Electoral Commission?
I've heard of it briefly, but I don't exactly know what it fully means.
Yeah. How have you heard of it, if you don't mind me asking?
Just from people around me, really, or online or something in school, maybe.
Yeah, it's quite interesting for me because even though I work with the Democracy Box, I think the first time I found out about the Electoral Commission was through school, because they were showing the videos in class and stuff that the Electoral Commission has made, different resources to help young people understand about democracy and all of that. Liv, do you want to explain what the Electoral Commission even is?
So you know the game Two Truths and a Lie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think it'd be more interesting if we played that but about the Electoral Commission?
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be fun. Sorry.
So, my two truths and a lie. Here we go. The Electoral Commission was set up in 1980. The Electoral Commission has offices in London, Cardiff, Edinburgh, and Belfast. The Electoral Commission's goal is to make sure elections are run well.
I want to say the first one's the lie.
Oh, it is. I'm a terrible liar.
No, I actually guessed that. I did actually guess that, I swear.
Do you want to do a guess then? When do you think it was set up?
2000s.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
You done that?
No, wait,
Are you lying?
I'm quite proud of myself now.
Right, I'm going to try and throw you then with my two truths and a
Yeah,
lie.
Okay.
The Electoral Commission is an independent body. The Electoral Commission is funded by the Senedd for work on Welsh elections and referendums. And the Electoral Commission employs around 5,000 members of staff across the UK.
Is the second one the lie?
The second one was the Electoral Commission is funded by the Senedd for work on Welsh elections and referendums. And I can tell you that that is true.
Oh, I got that one wrong. I'll guess again. The last.
Yeah, it was the last. So the Electoral Commission actually only employs around 170 members across the UK, not 5,000.
Oh yeah, that's a big number.
Do you want to do another one? The first one is the Electoral Commission has a website where you can look up how to register to vote, how to apply for a postal vote, and where your polling station is. The Electoral Commission can fine parties, and the Electoral Commission I can't think of a lie.
That's shocking.
I picked it up on the spot, but it didn't work out. So your truths are they do have a website.
Yeah.
And they can fine political parties if they do something wrong, because they're all
That is
about
interesting.
the Electoral Commission is all about regulating elections, making sure everything is run how it should, and basically keeping democracy at the forefront of everything, I guess. Well, because we're the Democracy Box, so it's a great little partnership. So Amelia, you said you haven't voted.
Yes.
Are you planning on it? I mean, is there any reason why you haven't voted in the past?
There's no particular reason, but I do think that for the next election I will vote, because I feel like, I should have it, I should get to voice my opinion, So I will do a bit more research and then I will see who I want to vote for. So yes, I will.
There's so many resources that you can find online now, especially with the Electoral Commission, like we were just talking about, and the Democracy Box story as well. So hopefully you'll be able to find, the information you need to be able to participate in voting.
Yeah.
What are you expecting?
So do you want me to say step by step, I walk in the room and I say, okay.
Actually, no, let's go from 2 weeks before election, if you catch my drift.
Ooh.
So I'm obviously research who I want to vote for, make sure that is exactly what I want to do. And then once I've researched and I've got my answer in my head, I'll go to the place. I don't know what it's called.
It's called a polling station. So you go to a polling station and you can find out actually where your polling station is by going to the Electoral Commission website. And I think you can literally put in your postcode. It'll tell you where your polling station is, and you can also go to the website Who Can I Vote For and put in your postcode, and it tells you who's running.
That is really good, actually. That sounds good. Okay, and then I walk in to a little bit where no one can see you vote.
Okay, so you're in the booth, Amalia, the polling booth.
I'm in the booth, yeah.
Yeah. What's happening next?
So I have my sheet of paper.
Do you know what your sheet of paper is called?
I don't know if that's what a ballot, something.
Yeah, ballot. So you've got your ballot.
And then obviously, then I tick, who I want to vote, and then I put it into a box.
Yeah, it's a ballot box. So it's actually quite interesting, Amalia, that you said that you tick the ballot paper, because I remember when I voted, I did a cross. Does it matter if it's a tick or a cross? Liv, do you know? Tick or cross?
Yeah. I actually found this out very recently. It does change, but it does really matter what you put in the box, and it'll say, I believe, at the top of the ballot paper. But if you're unsure, there are volunteers at the place, so you can literally just ask someone and they'll tell you. A lot of people think that you can't speak and ask for help, but you definitely can. Do that if you don't know, because they can help.
Yeah, I remember when I went, it was pretty quiet in there.
Yeah, it was so quiet.
I don't know if I was even allowed to talk. So that's really interesting. How many people can you actually vote for? I mean, how many ticks and crosses are you putting on that ballot paper? I mean, ticks or crosses, because it does matter which one you put. Any ideas?
Can't you only vote for one person?
Depends what election you're voting in, how many people you can vote for. So you might actually be able to put more crosses than you think going into it, and I guess this comes with research at the start. So if you research, I know when I went for my first vote, I had no idea really what I was doing. To be completely honest, I just knew that I'd registered to vote and I'd got loads of stuff through the door that was telling me, okay, it's almost election time. Looked up online, I found this website called Who Can I Vote For, which was really useful. I just went on that and basically found out that I could vote for multiple local councillors. It wasn't just one. I don't know if that was the same for you, Liv. What do you think?
Well, I wish I'd have found that website for my first time voting. I didn't, and I did my research. I was prepared in that sense, and I got in there and I went with my dad, so I had a bit of idea of what was going on, and I would have if I didn't work the Democracy Box. But I was by my paper, and then I kind of realised then that I had to pick more than one person, and that's what happens. It was terrible, to be honest. As a very indecisive person in that moment, I was like, oh no. So that website is very good, and researching how many people you can vote for in the election is definitely something I'd advise doing, because it was very shocking. But yeah, it does change depending on the election, so that can be confusing. You just gotta look it up, really. That's what I'd recommend.
And I guess remember that you can ask. Yeah,
definitely can. I wish I did. I would now.
At least you know for next time.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know of any other ways that you can vote, other than walking to the polling station? I know I've definitely heard of a postal vote, and I think that you've got to do you have to tell people that you're going to do a postal vote instead of an in-person one?
I know voting by proxy is, I think you name someone and they vote on your behalf, but that's something different to postal votes. You have to apply for it properly, don't you, to do a postal vote?
You do have to apply, and the deadline to apply is a little bit before the election. So if you do want to vote by post, you have to make sure that you want to vote by post. And Liv, do you want to speak about voting by proxy a bit more, just to let Amalia know that you can do that as well, I guess?
Yeah, I've only got a really simple understanding of it. Basically, it's you choose someone to vote on your behalf. That's pretty much all I...
Right, so votes for you. It's good that you can vote those other ways, though. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really good, yeah. So, Amalia, did you have any questions for us, because I mean we've spoken at you a lot.
I do have one question actually. Why do people use a proxy?
If you were on holiday during an election, so you weren't in the country.
I think the whole thing around voting by proxy is so that you can still cast your vote regardless of your situation. So, you're still getting your voice heard no matter what. If you can't get to the polling station, it doesn't matter because someone else can go for you, that kind of idea. So we've spoken about all the different ways that you can vote, by proxy, postal, actually going to the polling station in person. But I guess, Amalia, I kind of wanted to ask you one more question. Why do you think that young people aren't doing these things? If there's all these ways that they can, why are they still not?
I'm not actually quite sure. Maybe because they're not as, I don't know, I don't want to say educated. Maybe they don't know as much. I'm not.
Yeah. I would agree with you. So
Yeah, I agree as well.
I think that engagement comes from understanding. People are only going to be interested in something if they understand it. And if they don't understand it, then I don't know, like, why would you take part?
I suppose there's maybe an element of embarrassment about not knowing what's going on. I think that was certainly the case for me before the democracy box. I mean, voting, it just seems so simple. Like, you go in, you put in your vote, but just everything surrounding it, like the types of elections, who to vote for, like there is so much. I think it's so overwhelming, but I don't think anyone really wants to admit, like, oh, I don't get it. And I mean, most people don't get it, that's the thing, but I think that's definitely putting a lot of people off.
I would agree with that. I think it's so difficult to kind of get people to wrap their heads around it, and also for people to be unafraid to actually ask questions, and that's why it's so good that you're here, Amalia, because I'm so glad that you're able to ask the questions, and you're teaching us just as much as we're teaching you, because honestly, I don't know half the stuff.
No,
that
me neither.
Yeah, I need Google and I need the Democracy Box websites and all of that, because otherwise I would be lost.
So I think we've covered everything, really, haven't we?
I finished my tea.
So I finished my apple
as
juice.
well.
Amalia, do you have like a kind of hopefully more clear understanding of?
I do. I want to say thank you for giving me the chance to be on here, and I actually do feel a lot more educated. And now I am going to vote, and I will use a democracy box to inform me on how to do certain things and stuff. And I think it's very informative. So I'd like to say thank you for that.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant that you're going to use the Democracy Box resources. I'd say definitely also use the Electoral Commission resources. They're equally as amazing and super informative. They'll just make the whole process a lot more digestible, because it's a bit hectic when everything's everywhere.
Yeah, we've been chucking information at you for ages.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Amalia.
That's okay. Thanks for having me. Thank you for having me. Bye.
Okay, so we're going into the rapid fire part of our podcast today, and we've actually got a special guest with us. Elan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. My name is Elan Stevens, and I've been the Electoral Commissioner for Wales for the past 5 years, since 2017.
The important question is, do you have a cup of tea with you?
Well, I do indeed. I've got a big cup of tea. No biscuits at the moment.
Oh,
If I had brought them up, it would have been chocolate fingers.
that's a good choice. I love them. Okay, so now we're going to do a bit of a quick fire interview round. So, Elan, we're going to give you 30 seconds to answer the questions, and there's 2 questions from the Instagram account which people have submitted anonymously.
Fire away.
Okay, so the first question: why is knowledge on democracy so important for young people?
Because in the end, when you have laws passed in Parliament, they actually matter in your life. It's very important for you to have control and to feel that you are part of lawmaking.
That was a really good answer, yeah. Okay, so the second question. So this person has asked, where do I get reliable information about the possible people I could vote for?
So what I would say is go to the political parties' websites, have a read, think about it, ask them questions, And if you live in a village or a town, no doubt when the election comes around, somebody will knock on your door. Well, ask them as well what they're doing about things you're concerned about.
So we've got 17 questions here that young co-creators have asked about, basically about elections, like questions people will be too scared to ask but want to know the answer to. And to select them, I have got a 20-side dice. Right. Oh, this is exciting. Okay, you ready, Ellen?
Yeah, as ready as I can be.
Number 5. So, how old do you have to be to register to vote?
Well, in Wales and in Scotland, you can register at 14 because in Wales and Scotland, you actually vote at 16. So you can register as early as 14, but that's only, this is complicated, this is only for the elections that are Wales only. It's not for the general election where you have to be 18. But it's a very, very good idea to put yourself on the electoral register as early as you can and make certain that you've got a vote. Right.
So, Liv, do you want to do another dice roll?
Of course. All right. Number 3. How can we get a new Prime Minister without having a general election?
Well, this is pretty complicated too. In this country, in the United Kingdom as a whole, we vote for a political party. So although we might vote for Boris Johnson or for Rishi Sunak, actually we are voting for the Conservative Party. So when that Prime Minister resigns or might even die, the Conservative Party then decides on the new leader for them. So we haven't got a presidential election where we're voting for a person, we're voting for the party.
So, Elan, what's one thing you wish people knew about elections?
Oh, I think that's an easy one. What I'd really like young people to know is that you've got to have your name on the register, because a lot of people think that you can just turn up and vote, but you can't. You've actually got to get yourself onto the electoral register. So that's step number 1. And that's the one I'd really like people to know, because once you've taken that step, the next one follows, really.
Nice.
Okay. Number 1. What is a snap election?
Snap election is one that's called not within the normal time frame. Now, general elections are held once every 5 years, and the Senedd elections once every 5 years. But if something happens where the government thinks that it should go to the country, then it can call an election at any time.
Would you like a sip of tea, Elan? I think we're interrogating you.
You're taking pity on me, aren't you? Thank you.
I'll take one with you. And Liv, if you want to roll the dice again.
There we go. 8.
Is there a limit to how long you can work as an electoral commissioner? Do you think you'll have this job forever?
Oh, no, there is a limit. And that's a good thing, because I think it's a very good thing for people to change and to have fresh faces and fresh thoughts. Though my term is 4 years in the first instance, and I've just been renewed for a second term of 4 years. But that's my limit. After that, I've got to go.
And do you enjoy it?
Very much. I really do enjoy it. Yeah. I meet people from all political parties and from all opinions. It's brilliant.
15.
Question 15 is, what is the most important role of the Electoral Commission?
It's to build up trust in the public that elections are run properly and that there is a financial limit to what people can spend, and that there are rules and regulations about who can stand and how you register to stand. So really, put it at its simplest, is holding up trust in the system. Because if we didn't trust the system, things would be chaotic.
How do you make sure there's trust in the system? How do you regulate it? I don't know whether that's a way longer question than 30 seconds.
We do a report on each election. If there's a Wales only election, we do a report on it. If there's a general election, we do a report on it, local government. And we also take opinion polls. We actually commission an opinion poll. and ask people whether they think the system is trustworthy. And I'm really pleased to say that the majority of people still believe in the electoral system.
Great. That means you must be doing your job very well.
It's not just us in the Electoral Commission, it's all the people within county offices and so on that do the hard work of preparing for elections and being there on the day to make certain you're voting properly.
12, there we go.
Question 12 is, do you have to be in the UK to send in a postal vote?
No, you can send a postal vote from overseas if you are a British national. I mean, you've got to qualify as a British national, obviously. And then in Wales and Scotland, you can also be a qualifying foreign citizen for Wales and Scotland elections.
That was really good. Well done.
Very complicated subject, this, and moving target, because there's just been an Elections Act which actually changed some of the stuff as we speak. So it's all very fresh.
So I guess with it being so fresh, I was kind of wondering, where can I or any young people learn more about politics in general, I guess?
If you just want to look at elections and the Electoral Commission, that's a good place to start, the Electoral Commission itself. As for politics, I'd say just start listening. There are some great political podcasts and listening to news programs, current affairs programs.
You're flying through these. Liv, do you want to ask a question?
It's quite a simple one, really, but I just kind of wanted a more concrete answer about it. Is how do you know when an election is coming up? Because I'm always so paranoid I'm going to miss it.
Well, the simplest way of all is to go on the Electoral Commission website, and there's a little pointer there where you can put in your postcode, and if there's any election of any sort in your area coming up soon, it will tell you. But also, you know, especially with general elections, there's a lot of noise in the newspapers and on current affairs programs and on news programs, especially mainstream media.
Thank you so much. Like, I really didn't know the Electoral Commission had that feature, so that's brilliant. Thank you for telling me that.
So, Ilan, how did you become the Electoral Commissioner? Like, what's your story in 30 seconds?
Oh, wow.
My story is that I'm an academic with a real interest in broadcasting, in regulation of broadcasting, and then from there into the regulation of politics. And when this job came up, I applied and I was interviewed very stringently. And I need to say one thing in addition. I'm going to ask for your pardon. When your name comes up, it has to be put to the whole of Parliament, to all the political parties, and they have to take a vote on whether they think you're a suitable person.
Wow.
Oh, whoa.
So it's quite a big deal.
I was very pleased that they voted the right way.
Okay, so my question is, why are elections so many years apart?
It's to give the party that's been elected time to do a proper job. Because I think if you were, shall we say, 3 years, part of your acts would not have been passed and you'd be starting to prepare for the next election. So you need a decent amount of time.
Ellen, thank you so much. This has been so interesting. I guess we owe you like time to answer your questions now, if you've got any. I mean, we've been rapid fire at you for the last however long. So it's your turn if you have any questions for us.
I do have a question, actually, and it really worries me. How do we persuade young people who have such passion for campaigns, like climate change campaign, for example, that actually voting and the boring stuff, as they think of it, in Westminster or something, is actually important and can make a difference to their passion? I really like some help on that, because I think people get so passionate about their courses, but they're not equally passionate about voting.
For me, what I've always thought, and I guess it's different for every person working at the Democracy Box, but in my own personal opinion, I think just getting it into schools and getting it into like friendly, normal conversations, it doesn't have to be a big thing that only people who go to university will understand or teachers can explain it. It's like, I want to be able to explain it to my friend, and I want my friend to be able to explain it to me. And then it makes it maybe not so boring, because it's not a condescending issue, or, people aren't embarrassed about asking, because it's not embarrassing. So I think that just normalizing the conversation.
Brilliant answer, really brilliant answer. And I just wish more and more people were, as passionate about the thing as this conversation has been.
Liv, what do you think? I'm quite interested now to know what you think about all of it.
It's very important to make the connection between things that people are passionate about and then voting, because I definitely know a lot of people who are super passionate about stuff. They're like, oh, I care about this, I care about that. But I feel like people don't often make the connection between things they're passionate about and then, say, voting or petitioning. And yeah, I think just making people aware, like awareness is always the main thing, but genuinely just making people aware that that is a tool they can use to, engage with their passion. You know what I mean? I'm not very good at explaining, but...
Yeah, Liv, I think you're absolutely right, because being able to say to somebody, look, you're passionate about this, you're campaigning on that, but actually there are men and women and others in Westminster and in the Senedd, in Cardiff and so on, who are passing laws about this. And you need to have a voice in that law.
I agree. Thank you so much, Elan. This has been so interesting, and I'm so glad. I mean, I've learned so much just from asking you these questions. We're very lucky to have you here, Elan, so that's great.
Definitely.
Liv and Lola, I think you've been so welcoming. It's been a treat to be here and have a cup of tea with you. So thanks very much indeed. And thank you for all the work you're doing as well, to spread interest in something that's really important to me and to a lot of people. Thanks very much indeed.
So that was our special guest, the Electoral Commissioner for Wales, Elan Clos-Stevens, in our rapid fire interview questions.
Elan will also be in the Welsh language version of this podcast episode, being interviewed by young co-creators Kat and Emily.
You've been listening to the Democracy Box podcast series, created and produced by Oh My Days Productions and the Democracy Box young co-creators. Thank you to our guests, Elan Clos-Stevens and Amalia. This episode has been made in partnership with the Electoral Commission.
Please like, follow and share the Democracy Box on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, and check out our music tracks on the story of our UK democracy on BBC Bitesize. You can also find us at www.thedemocracybox.co.uk. We have been Lola and Liv. Thanks for listening. Bye. Bye, Liv.